Fella joins a nudist camp and he's a bit nervous. And the woman that runs the place decides to show him round and, make him feel comfortable and at home, sort of thing. So, anyway, they're walking around and she's a little bit deaf, a little bit Mutt and Jeff. And she said, this is the where you can play tennis and then you can go and relax over here and do this and do that and whatever. And suddenly, to break his embarrassment, because there he is walking around with his meat and two veg swinging in the breeze, he says, hang on a minute. He says, I think I know that bloke over there. She said, pardon? He said, isn't that Dick Brown? She said, well, it should be. He's been sunbathing all day.
I've got to be honest. I thought that was going to go somewhere else for a minute there. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to get real raunchy.
Actually, that was even dirtier, that tune. So I cleaned it up a little bit for YouTube.
I think that was quite tame, actually, compared to how it could have gone. But,
yes. But no. That I debated. I thought no, but I better de-smut it, But we got a strange case of the disappearing person this week again, because Paul came on at I logged on about 5 o'clock this afternoon, and he was on there, and he asked a question about the pyramids that are shown on the intro of this show. You see, and the answer is, sorry, mate. YouTube, for some unknown reason, have lost you again. I don't know what it is about YouTube, but your comment was there, and about an hour ago it disappeared. So, but anyway, he asked, what are the pyramids? Are they somewhere? I can't remember. I think that's African or somewhere. I haven't the foggiest idea as the answer. I just got them off the internet.
Oh.
Oops. So I don't know. I'm sorry. But we've got Sue Coe. Hello, Sue. Hi, Paul. Goodness, you are keen. That's right. She was answering Paul. Paul's disappeared. His comment disappeared. So he gets the brownie points even though he's not there. Sorry. But it's not my fault. Bloody YouTube. I have just popped on to check if there was a show tonight. No, mate. No, there's no show. No. I will be back later. That was at 5:52. We got Herodotus Get Fucked. If you look outside your window, Sue will be. If you look out your window, Sue will be in the shadows. She's up a bloody ladder at the moment, tapping on the window. Good. And South Coast Rich. Hello. I think you like the joke. Yeah. This is True Stephen True Speaker. Hello. We've got Sue Seasider. Hi all, Eric and Nathan. Have we had Sue Seasider? No, I don't think we have. And we've got DJ Beto. Hello there. And then we got what was it? I've changed my name from Sue Coe. Ah, that's where it is. Oh, I've got you now. See, you can't fool me. I'm too stupid. And then we got, I don't know who this geezer is. I don't know who he is. Some geezer's coming. And we've got good evening in mates. That's life, but not as we know it. By the way, thank you for everybody that came on the show last night on the Rumble chat. Picking up on there, and I was quite disturbed actually. It worked all right because Rumble usually goes tits up halfway through. It didn't. This is that's life, but not as we know it. Why are the pyramids in Egypt?
Yeah,
they were too heavy to steal and put in the British Museum. Mark Anthony, evening all. Oh, hello, Paul. He's back again. They look like. Was it
Kushite? Yeah. Because they're very like that. The pyramids. So they also seem to be growing out of each other because you've got one pyramid that's kind of it's like it's got a growth and it just maybe that's how the pyramids got there. This is why we can't figure it out because basically they're natural growths from the landscape. You know, they just appeared there, and the Egyptians scratched them, and then just kept growing. I don't know.
Right, if everyone from Ireland could just switch off for a few. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. If everybody
okay.
from Ireland could just switch off for a few moments, right? It's okay. Do you know why the Irish got the potatoes and the Arabs got the oil? It's because the Irish had first choice. Sorry, right? You switch on again, people in Ireland. It's okay.
I love the Irish humor. It's great. It's so wrong. It's just right. I love it.
I've been watching you from the top of Blackwall Tower. Oh. And
why would you do that?
Good evening, folks. Hope you're all well. Yes. Don't forget to smash that like button. Oh, and that lovely. Thanks, Deb. And have a great show.
Oh.
We haven't told Deb yet, but but she's coming on. When are you coming on? You're coming on Monday, the 14th of October. Yes.
There you go.
There we go. But right. On with the show. Oh, by the way, shall we have a? We was talking about mock chews just before we came on here.
We've got to do the mock chews. Oh. You've got to be careful what you say, though.
Yeah, that's all. They evolved through the ages, because I was saying to Nathan that I saw a World War II sort of bit of an old film, and there was an American GI mock show. There it was, chewing away. But I saw a classic in Aldi. Oh, it was a classic. There he was, and he parked his car where people normally park in the car park. He parked it outside because he couldn't be bothered to walk across the car park because that's too much for him. And his girlfriend, I expect his girlfriend, who looked like she's doing an impersonation of the Michelin Man, so like this. And he had, those really cheap tattoos all up his arm. And he had this, what I call it, as if he's had an airline shoved up his arse and inflated him, as if he's, false muscles. He's done a little bit of weightlifting, but he takes all the chemicals to make him look big, and he's going along like this, opening the freezer doors, because they've got these main sort of doors now, taking something out, shoving it in his trolley, and leaving the door open. So everywhere he went, he left the door open because it can't be bought close the door. Just leave it open like he's walking along.
So, have you noticed how the mock chews, they always tend to have one of these what I refer to as modern women on their arms? Now, yes. Sometimes it can be attractive, but usually it's this kind of. I'm gonna butcher this, right? It's this.
That's it.
It's embarrassing, but there you go. It's we get our fair share of mock chews here, and it's I love the term. You've got to write that dictionary that you're on about, because it's necessary at this point. We need to introduce new language to the English, the folk dictionary or something like that.
Yeah, I'm doing a bullshit dictionary, so that when someone's bullshit, you could look it up and say, oh, here it is, because. If you want to know how to spell a word, look up a dictionary. You got thesaurus for looking up, different meanings of different.
There's a cream you can get for that,
That's right. Yes. Thesaurus. Yeah. Oh, bloody hell, yes. Well, there was a dinosaur called a megasaurus, wasn't there? It ate porcupines, and
the diplodocus. Oh, sorry, diplodocus. Sorry.
So we're on top folders tonight, aren't we?
I don't know. So my excuse is I haven't taken my medication, so I'm just going to go for that.
Did someone put something about water? There is water, isn't there? I'm sure it's water. But
it's the wrong colour. It needs to be Guinness in the Guinness glass.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's anemic. It's anemic Guinness, isn't it? Yeah. But when they get in a car, it's a whole new world, isn't it? Because they always have this sort of strange hairstyle, the sort of where it's all sort of short around the backs and sort of, and then like an island of hair on the top. And they always have a car that has an exhaust that sounds like farts. and they got their music on, so you can just
yeah.
and then,
But so why do they do that? I mean, obviously, so it's a case of overconfidence and too much testosterone, isn't it? Really?
yeah,
It seems that way.
yeah, it's over. It is too much testosterone, I think,
Yeah.
because I remember, you know, when camcorders first. I'm old enough to remember when camcorders first came out, and you used to see them outside places like Dixon's and PC World. Imagine that's a camcorder, it's my glasses case, and them going as if they know all about it, you know.
Yeah, it's an anthropological study group that you founded. So this is a new area of anthropological expertise. The mock chew in his natural habitat, you know, his natural environment, and you need to observe how they operate. And it's very interesting watching their interactions with the mating calls and the pub behaviors, you know, with them and their mates, and they've got this extremely loud laugh. Not, you know, it's like they boom it. It's like they're trying to project it across the whole, you know, and then they look at you as you walk past you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alpha morons.
Yeah, that's right. And I tell you something, between you and I, we won't tell anybody else this, but we keep it between ourselves. There's a couple of that often, if you go to a stand in the park, you will find a mock chew there. I can guarantee there's a mock chew, definitely a mock chew there. They're usually one, but we won't mention any names or anything like that. But there's always a mock chew.
Yeah, anyway, we had a few of those actually, and actually we had a massive mix of weirdness in the. I've got to be careful here, haven't I? I've got to be careful what I say. Yeah, we had let's say an eclectic mix of people in the stand in the park. Yeah, there was some very good and some not so good. Yeah,
some that you cross the road to avoid.
Unless you're in a car and accidentally ran them over, but apparently that's not allowed these days. Sorry, officer. I meant to run him down completely. I clipped him.
And some with a face like a smacked arse.
Yeah, funny enough, I was having a conversation with somebody today. Do you know what? There's one of these mock chews that I used to know, and he's a psychopath, right? And he's this little bloody little guy, right? I mean, it's difficult to describe him because he's just not that. He's full of shit, and he just walks around with this bravado, and it's like, you know, where do they get it from? I can understand if they're good looking, right? I mean, that doesn't excuse their behavior, right? But I can understand it, and they just walk around as if they own the place, and they you know, this is the kind of guy who shouts out of a window to you know, young lasses as they're passing by, and doesn't get arrested. Now, if I was to do that, I'd be in a prison cell for the next 20 years. You know, just it's bizarre looking at them the way they get it. Yeah, the mock chew. We need to copyright this phrase, Eric. Oh, Chris, which one do I call you online? Is it Chris or Eric? It's so confusing.
Call me anything you like, as long as it's not too late for me dinner.
Well, I mean, right, okay, thingy. We're gonna
thingy.
What's a thingy?
That's the thing. But I tell you something. They always, I've noticed, because you said psychopath, narcissist, they have got so much testosterone pumping around that they'll be wearing shorts in the middle of winter when the snow's on the ground.
Oh, mate, this is a profiling exercise, isn't it? I mean, you're right though. I mean, it's freezing, and they're just
freezing.
I don't know. Yeah. You know, is it too much testosterone though? Do we think? I mean, it's got to be. I think it's an overload. It's not just a high level. I mean, I've got I would say a fairly decent level of testosterone, but my God, it's in overload. It's
well,
there's no restraints. They need to put the stabilizers back on.
That's right. I mean, old hair, that's too much testosterone. But the thing is that I think that's what it. The book was it Puzzling People by Thomas Sheridan. I disagree with a few things, but I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong, but I disagree with a few things about what he said about psychopaths. But he was saying that psychopaths, a lot of them perspire heavily a lot because they have got this overabundance of testosterone. I haven't found that in all cases, but I politely and respectfully disagree with that thing. But I have noticed that narcissists generally they'll F and blind at people, and they're going to give a damn who's there, and they'll use foul language to hide their inadequacies, and that's a typical narcissist. And they think it's funny to use foul language, but the funny thing is that you could put them into this one category. And as I said, mock chew is sort of, I'm better, I'm superior, did you go through the other one? Is I had this one at work once. I had a mock chew at work. That everything you said, you tried to make out that you were wrong and he was right. That as a classic, absolute classic. It's. I think it's going to rain today. There's not a cloud in the sky. Beautiful blue sky, and it's pissing down rain outside.
So I find with this kind of the mock chew, it's you don't know as much as they do.
That's right.
When you're on the same page as they are, you're not doing it right. Yeah. But they know something that you don't. It's always. I mean, to be fair, I know a few people.
That's right.
You're never ever going to win an argument with them. In fact, you're never going to win a discussion with them. There's no winning. Right.
Yeah.
So the art of the mock chew.
But get away with things that we would never get away with. Absolutely unbelievable.
I think part of the reason for that is because people they're absolutely taken aback as to just how overconfident these people are. I mean, they just go out there and do. So people are sitting back thinking, "Oh, we've just done that, right? Okay, well, all right."
But everybody hates them behind their back, but to their face, just, "Oh, hello, how are you? Oh,
yeah,
lovely to see you." Anyway, that's our mock chew. See that. So if anybody see a mock chew around, I think they are mating. There's a breeding. They see and almost every country there's a mock chew.
Do you know what though? I think Britain takes the gold medal for mock chews though. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can go to France and the Europeans, you get the mock chews, and you get the American mock chews. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But with the English, it's like we've defined it. Especially pub culture. You'll always see them in the pubs with a small cluster of people. Booming. They're there. You know which ones they are. And again, the mock chew, they're always sat there.
I'm actually I'm writing on that chapter now because my bullshit book, where you encyclopedic, you can look it up and find out what bullshit. I think yes, we could actually have areas where there's more mock chews than others. But I think the Italian mock chews are more suave with it, and the French they're very suave.
The Italians and the French, you're right. They've got a charisma about them as well. They're not quite as brutish as the English mock chew. They've still got some kind of I mean, I don't know whether charisma is the right word, but you can almost be endeared. They're almost endearing. But you come across them in England, it's just like, oh, it's one of them. Yeah, let's just move on. And as soon as you don't want to talk to them, they'll find something to talk to you about.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And also, they always accuse you of what they do themselves. The
supreme art of gaslighting.
That's right, super gaslight. But anyway, it's a sort of look at life. But don't worry, there's no names in this book or anything like that. We're just looking at different characters of mock chews and. Is it done yet? So, is it done yet? So you get them at work. Is it done yet? No. Anyway, on with the show. We've got here Sue Seasider, wonderful Deborah missed you. That's right. She's coming on next week. Yabba dabba doo. That's life, but not as we know. It says, so Cleopatra turns to Mark Antony and says, "Not tonight, dear. I'm on my pyramid." Oh dear. Oh, dear.
I like that.
That reminds me of No, I can't mention it. It's filthy. No, it is.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, with your opening, the.
Well, that's tame compared with the one about Cleopatra. Anyway, did they have Stephen Truesdale said? Did they have advanced technology in ancient times? Yes, but in a different way, I think. Okay. Aunt Sally.
This is kind of what we're discussing. Kind of, this is the area of discussion for tonight, isn't it? It's kind of like hidden history, which, to be fair, I think we need to make a disclaimer at this point, because there's a lot of channels out there and they make a lot of heavy claims about Atlantis and Lemuria and these ancient civilizations, and the fact that the ancient Turks and what is now in Turkey, I don't want to be called Turks, but the Egyptians, that they all had this fantastic free energy supply. Just let's put it on the table before we begin. Everything that we say is going to be conjecture. It's going to be musings, because we don't know that that's the case. We can only consider that it's a possibility. I've not really seen anything that's absolutely convinced me of it, apart from the what's that Kythera device they found at the bottom of the Mediterranean?
The computer thing.
Yeah,
that is years ahead of its time. And also, there was no pitch inside the pyramids. That's another weird. No pitch, because when you've got so you have a ancient torch, which you had, the only light they had was from fire, so you get pitch from that. So if it was animal fat you was burning, or whatever it was they were burning, you would get pitch from it. But there's none in the pyramids, unless somebody knows differently. But what I've read, they found they can't work it out. How did they do all the carvings and build it when there's no pitch inside? Bit weird. So that's another.
So to interrupt there, mate. All right, Chris the Gardener's just made it. That's what I was referring to, and I couldn't remember the civilization. In fact, I still don't think we know the civilization for Göbekli Tepe. I think that's the one in Turkey, and I think that if I'm correct, and I might be wrong, it might be the other one, but I think the WEF have currently got a station there, and they're trying to hide it. They're trying to cover it up. I think that's the one that they're and it's old. I mean, we're talking Graham Hancock territory with Göbekli Tepe. I think this is the one that comes back to 1500 BC. I mean, they say that there weren't any hidden civilizations or any pre-civilizations, but how do you explain that? And that is right in the area of the Levant, right? We are talking centralized kind of cradle of civilization area, right? We've got Turkey, the Levant, Egypt, things that Mesopotamia. That's right there, and yet it goes way back. How do we explain that? What are they hiding?
That's right.
I'm gonna roll with that one.
That you're right. What are they actually hiding? And there's also some modern things they're covering up. I mean, I covered this on, I think it was on not last Sunday, or might have been the Sunday before, where during World War II they wanted to extend the range of Hurricane fighter planes, and this bloke came up with this idea with magnets around a fuel and it worked. And in the 70s, somebody rediscovered this technology, or might have worked on it, I don't know, full story, and he marketed it, and councils bought these gizmos and put it on their vehicles and found they were getting wonderful fuel savings from it. And then suddenly the establishment did a hatchet job on it, and the poor sod who marketed them, I think he went bust, because nobody would have them because they thought they didn't work. But I think it's something to do with magnetism, and I think Patrick, who's online, I think he mentioned it, or was it Paul? I can't remember, but they had them in America all over the place. But I don't think you can get them now. But these things are covered up. There's a lot of cover-ups like that. But because remember, his story, it's not history isn't necessarily what happened, but it's usually what a minority want you to believe. I mean, the perfect one is the lady with the lamp. No, not down the red light district. I'm talking about the lady with the lamp, the Florence Nightingale. Yes. He's coming over all unnecessary there. And quick, we need a rub down with Exchange and Mart.
Give me flannel. You mentioned the red lights, you got me all hot and bothered.
Got a couple of a tandem, a dog runs out and throws a bucket of water over him. No, it's a terrible one. It's an old one. But so, what I was going to say is,
are you saying we're randy dogs here? I mean, that's all I can take away. I mean, I'm not denying it in the slightest, but I can live with that.
I have. Yeah. All right, I'll try and tame it down. Young Brave goes into DP with the chief sitting there with his pipe of peace. One moment his peace on, and the next minute his peace off. But anyway, why have you come, young brave? You say, and he says, well, oh chief, or whatever he calls in Head Honcho, he says, how do you name a child? Well, when a child is born, I go out. I think you know what's coming, do you? I go out and I saw a crazy horse. So that's how Crazy Horse is named. And then I saw a timber wolf, and that's how Timber Wolf was named. Why do you ask? Two dogs having a shag. That's clean. That is clean up.
I mean, is this considered racist? I mean, I don't think it is, but yeah. Indigenous naming. Yeah.
I might have a Red Indian sort of sending to me saying you racist git. It might be two dogs having a shag. You never know. My name is Two Dogs Having a Shag. How dare you take the piss out of me? Sorry.
Actually, do you know what? He's off.
I think we're gonna get banned.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. As much as the platform really needs to get its fucking acting gear, we don't want to get banned from it. I don't think.
No, we don't want to get banned. So that's awesome. We're talking about American Red Indians who are very nice people. I've never actually met an American Red Indian in my life, not knowingly anyway. No, I met a half Aborigine. No, I've never met an American Indian. Nearest I've got to an American Indian is watching an American cowboy film, and that's about it, really. But they're very nice people, apparently.
But you have to say that.
Yes, I've never met one. I don't know. I bet a South American Indian. That's a bit different. They used to. They went round England. You might have seen them playing the panpipes.
Well, there was a. I think 10 years ago there was a massive influx of that, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And he used to stand outside of like shopping centres with a little. Yeah, it was. But I would say that they were more Mexican, Peruvian instead of the not so much the Amazonian tribes or anything like that. I wouldn't even say that they were the Red Indians or anything like that. Just kind of
Peruvian, I think they were.
Yeah, that kind of
land of the llamas and all that sort of stuff. No, I've never really met a real big chief Indian or anything like that. So I might have passed one whilst walking along the road, but I've never actually, I might have sat next to one on a bus. I don't know. Although I don't go by bus, so no. Anyway,
I tell you what, public transport sucks. Right, I'm not. So I used to have a massive problem with public transport because it never ran on time. But that's the least of the problems with it these days. You get on a bus, and you can guarantee you've always got a dickhead on there, right? So I've got a little rule with my daughter. We always get on the bus and we say the rule of always one, right? And that is there's always an asshole, right? Every single time, and you'll get on and you guarantee there's some dickhead listen to their music on the phone full blast, or the what is it, the TikTokers or whatever the hell it is, the 5-second memory people it makes me want to, it makes me almost want to do things that would
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Yeah. Yes. And you get this from the earphones.
No, that will be an improvement. So that I could accept, but it's like, they just get on the bus and they have no respect for anybody. And people who have no respect or consideration, they are the God. I'm getting they're the worst of the worst.
Well,
those are the kind of people that I would quite happily turn a blind eye to if something bad happened to them. There you go. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to get booted.
Where I live, there's only about, I think, 2 or 3 buses a day. That's it. Whoa. So if you missed it, tough. But I don't. Hence the reason I'll be straight with it. I hate public transport. I try to avoid it as much as I can. Yeah. You know, that's why I love cars and I love cycling. If you got a bus to the local town, it would take about an hour, and I can get there in 20 minutes on my bike, or get there in 10 minutes with my car. It's just bonkers, you know. But anyway, shall we have a quick look in chat and we'll carry on.
Just before you do that, I was going to say this is why the smart city agenda is not going to work very well, is it? Because they want us confined to public transport. Well, it would help if they made it tolerable, right? If they made it reliable, which it's not, it never has been. If they made it comfortable, it never has been. And again, if they enforce the rules on the buses, and I sound a bit like a bloody marshal there, but you know, I don't want to get in a bus and hear somebody else's TikTok, somebody else's music, somebody else listening to some dickhead on a short or something like that. I don't want to do that. And so if you really want this smart agenda thing to kick off properly, my God, sort that out, because it's just annoying.
Last time I went on a bus was, God knows when, it smelled of wee-wee, stale wee-wee. Everywhere you went, it smelled stale pee, you know. And I actually thought they were mobile public lavatories, you know, people just went in there, but what gets me is the great unwashed on there. You know, you don't know whether someone's vacated their seats and they've got running sores. You know, it's a warm seat. You think, what am I sitting on?
Well, again, public transport's just bloody horrible. I mean, I've got reasons why I don't drive, but I seriously want to change that dynamic now. It's been far too long, but public transport is intolerable at the minute. It's just horrible. Really is, for every reason.
But anyway, I was talking back to the lady with the lamp, Florence Nightingale. When I was at school, the sun shone out of her, and her backside. And, you know, now children, what a marvellous lady, she saved all these poor dying soldiers, and such a marvellous person. And then Florence Jekyll came along. Well, Florence Jekyll was a businesswoman. Full stop, end of. Who nursed a few soldiers. But there's no big deal. They've hyped it all up. But Florence Nightingale apparently was filthy. And if you were a wounded soldier, you had a 50% chance of survival if you went into one of her hospitals. And it was so bad that the British Army had to step in, and they got it down to 20% casualty.
Right.
Yeah.
So the soldiers did a better job than the nurses.
Yeah, better than Florence Nightingale. She wasn't what they make out she was. She was. It was a load of old tut what they've said about. They've made up a hell of a lot of stuff about it, you know. So that's another piece of hidden history which we don't really hear of. But going into chat, we got Aunt Sally. Evening, folks.
Hello,
Chris the Gardener. Good evening, my lovely. Hope all is well. By the way, I've sent you something on my Telegram channel, or on your I've sent it to you by Telegram, Chris. There's an event happening on the 13th of Sunday, the 13th, up in Suffolk. The Bowler Hat Farmer. He's going to talk. He's got some people along to talk about this electric, whatever it is, electric growing crops by ether. I can't say too much because apparently they've been banned from YouTube. You're not supposed to mention it on there. But anyway,
imagine my surprise that bans something that could potentially be beneficial to the whole of humanity. Wow, what a massive surprise. Right.
So he's going to have a talk there. So if anybody else in the area is interested, I'll post it on my Telegram channel. You know, I think Paul might be going, Paul English. I know that Richard Vobes is probably going there, and a few others. So, you know, it's going to be quite nice. Yeah. And I'll be on my best behaviour. I won't be. I won't be telling any smutty jokes. I'll all be very polite. I wouldn't dare, would I?
Well, why would you?
Stephen Truth says, not much pleb gene, more like. That's the box shoes, I think it is. Cinnamon and nutmeg. Hello, cinnamon and nutmeg. Good evening, there. Hello. And it's this geezer again cropping up. Don't know who he is. And then we got Hi Nathan, hello.
Hi, Chris.
We've got here, and we've got Reconciliation. That's Patrick. Is this the show about electro farming?
Well,
no,
not this one, but I think that's what you're referring to, isn't it? The
I've got to be careful how we mention it because bloody YouTube, it's almost as bad as talking about. You know.
Have you got like a little flyer that perhaps you could just accidentally move across the screen there? No, I was thinking in terms of the talk that's going on with the farming equipment.
Well, that's Monday the 28th of October. They're coming on. It's Andrea and somebody else. Electro Culture, and that's booked. So it's Monday. And what I'll do, it'll be on my Telegram channel. I'll put it on there. And the one this Sunday is at this coming Sunday is at Bowler Hat Farmers Place. So I hope to get there. And it's about 2 hours drive. It's about 80 miles. It's not bad, really. And they say it's going to be a nice day on Sunday, long-term weather forecast.
You've done it now. They're going to get the planes fueled up now.
You know,
a nice day to them is dull and boring, I think.
Yes.
You know, the engineers, let's call them for now.
Now, they get it from their parents. Are we talking about mock chews?
No, I think. Well, I don't know whether he's referring to the mock chews or whether he's referring to the general low life scum that we've got to put up with on a daily basis. But you know what? I would put a lot of the problems in society down to bad parenting, and the bad parenting has been encouraged by the state because I think that everything we are seeing now is completely engineered to be the way it is. I think that what I refer to as chav culture, I think that is all part and parcel of the state in order to bring in communism. I think bad parenting is part of that because bad parenting leads to the excuse of, well, parents can't be trusted, therefore the school authorities therefore now have the right to take rights off the parents and give it to the schools and the states. And what worries me about that is schools in the UK. I don't know what it's like anywhere else, so I can only speak from the UK. They've had in the last 10 years massive fences, massive perimeter fences going up all around the schools. Big green metal fences. Sometimes they've got spikes along the top. They've got cameras. You've got to press a button to get just through the regular gates. And now, apparently, they've started introducing biometrics into schools. And then when the parents don't consent to the use of biometrics, they are simply ignored. And when they're brought to task for, fingerprint sampling, iris blood samples, all the rest of it. It's their excuse from the schools. Oh well, never mind. You'd have had to have done it anyway. That's not acceptable. That's not. I agree with you. Close to acceptable.
I think that when you look, I mean, my parents, my mother especially, used to say, "Clothes maketh man." Now, she used to complain that however much she tried to dress me to look smart, I always looked like a bag of compost, it looks scruffy. But strangely enough, I started to look a lot smarter. I hope and I've been talking to a few other people about this because, quite honestly, when you look at the scruffiness of clothing now, you look at, say, the 50s and the 60s. There's I was researching Stevenage in Hertfordshire, and I was looking at pictures of the 60s. Everybody, without exception, was dressed smart. And the men with shirt, tie, even young blokes. Look at the Teddy Boys. They were smart. They were the 50s, I think. But yeah, they were at least very smart. And
now, so what have we got now? We've replaced suits and ties and dresses and
Well, sorry, I'm not very
whatever.
Smart,
we've replaced it with tracksuits and trainers. And honestly, trainers can be comfortable, but honestly, as footwear, it just looks. It belongs on a track and field, right? It belongs in a center for running or something like that, a gymnasium perhaps, but not in. I don't know. We've devolved a lot, and I think in line with that, our morals have dropped through the floor. Morals and decency, integrity to drop through the floor.
I agree with you, because I can just about remember when Ben raised their cat. Old boys used to raise their cats.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Respect.
Lightness, respect, and things like that. That's sort of all gone. And teenagers have always been rebellious. Yes, I mean, and I'm talking about dress. I mean, you won't see me when I go on my bike. I look like a bag of compost on legs. You know, I mean,
with a little flat cap. Is there a flat cap involved?
No, actually, I wear a woolly hat and a woolly hat.
Is that over your helmet? I'm not giving you fuel. That's ammunition. Leave that where it is. We'll come back to that another time.
I'm thinking of some false goofy teeth on. No, actually, I wear just black jeans, but the stretch ones, trainers, and an M65 jacket. So it's green, you know. I look like an RB surplus special, you know. But thing is I don't wear this tight stuff or anything like that, you know. And drivers seem to like it because, you know, they tell me that I've still got 2 wheels on my bike. They go, look, you've got 2 wheels, and look, it's just
sure they do, yeah.
Look, it's just one saddle there, and they call me Richard Head for some unknown reason. I don't know quite why, you know. So look at that, Richard Head.
Must be driving lingo or something.
I don't know what it is, you know. Or they think I work in a bar as well, so that you bar steward. Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, actually, I cycle like I'm driving. So when I go up to the traffic lights, I wait my turn like with all the rest of the cars. And I could tend to get out of the way of people. I don't want to hold cars up because I know how irritating it is when I'm stuck behind bikes. You know, so I you know. Anyway, so I do like my cycling. Now it says, moving forward, how are you all? I don't know, 2 arms, 2 legs.
Okay-ish. Okay-ish.
Yeah. It's too much pleb thinking.
Yeah.
Truth seeker. Then we've got Hideous Getfoot says, Geordie of the Antarctic and Bob. And Deb has said, Sue, thank you. I've missed you all too. Yes, we've certainly missed you. I've missed you as well, Deb. So it'd be a very warm welcome back. And I won't, no smutty gags, Deb. I'll be on my best behaviour. And yes, the plebs do breed too much. Yes. Especially mock chews.
Yeah.
There's too many mock chews in the world. Then we got here. To understand the Indian, one should wear his moccasins. White man speak fork tongue. That's why he eat fish and chips. That's right. And then we got Gobli.
Göbekli Tepe. Yeah. So this is the settlement in Turkey. I think it's in Turkey, isn't it, Chris? If you can just confirm that, because there's 2 that they found a while back, and one of them I often get confused with there's a Roman temple built on top of it, and it's 2 massive, humongous stone blocks.
That's right, up in the high up in the mountains. And reconciliation. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in there. It was a bit rude.
No, I can't remember the word of it anyway.
Yeah. Patrick, you said, are you talking about women? What we've been talking about mock chews? No, they're men. Mock chews are men. And you've got them in America. You've definitely got mock chews in America, a lot of them. So,
yeah. But
I think Britain is this time has outdone the Americans, quite honestly. I
think we've perfected the art of mock chews and chavs. Actually, this is Patrick, isn't it? Reconciliation.
Yeah.
Right. So Patrick, I don't know how familiar you are with British yob culture as it is these days, right? So we have something. We were in the Northeast. We refer to them as chavs, which apparently is it's supposedly shortened for council housed and violent, which, to be fair, kind of fits. But either way, if you imagine little gang members who dress in black tracksuits and snazzy trainers, I mean that's about the most trendy bit about them. They walk around as if they literally own the estate.
That's it.
They're always in gangs. They swear a lot. They cause a lot of trouble. They're horrible. It's like imagine Mad Max on steroids, and then you've got. If you have a look on the internet and type in chav culture, it's horrible. So I suppose from an American perspective, that would be almost like your gangs, but not as classy. I think American gangs are a little bit, higher class than the pleb chav culture. It's horrible. It's to me, it's the debasement of society to its lowest level. They're always carrying knives. They're always they're horrible.
That's
horrible.
And the knuckles drag the ground, I think, don't they?
Pretty much. Well, I think to be fair, Homo habilis all those years ago was probably more highly evolved than the chav subspecies that seems to have branched off from the main species of humanity.
I agree with it.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about race or anything like that because they're mainly
it's not racist.
They're mainly indigenous. That's the thing. They're mainly
indigenous. Yeah, the horrible. Yeah.
So we're not talking about race or anything like that because but mock Jews are all kinds of places.
We need a profile, don't we? We need to do like almost like an enneagram to classify the different species of wildlife within the British urban environment. That could be a whole show in itself. We could categorize and class into subdivisions. That'd be fantastic.
It would, and we could have people from around the world sending them in because I'm sure there's equivalent. I mean, there's definitely equivalents in and we're saying for Britain, I think we are outclass the rest of the world when it comes to mock shoes and chavs.
Yeah, we just something to be proud of in Britain. Yeah,
that's right. Oh, the other one they like doing is they stuff. I won't mention the name of the firm, so we say junk food down their throat. And then lob the stuff over their shoulder as if it doesn't exist. So if they're in a car, they'll open the door, the window, go that window.
Hang on. No. The chavs are much too uncivilized to drive cars until they're about 40, in which case then they're the ones that turn into the mock Jews and boom down the road, with deafening, acoustics as you almost get hit by them. Yeah, I've got nothing good to say about them, to be fair.
And the older mock Jews, their wives, have always got tops on where they've got about, looks like umpteen sort of suspenders to hold their boobs up. They sort of got the bras round, loads of sort of bra support all round them. It's like they're parachutists,
It's certainly an education, isn't it? I mean, good God, can you imagine this country for the first time? It's like, oh, look, sophisticated Britain. You got these nice little villages, and oh my God, what's happened here? It's not what you expect these days. Yeah, very far from it.
Well, there's bus watch. There's train spotters, bus spotters. And also people that go around bird watching and looking at different birds around the world of feather type. So we're mock Jew watchers. We say, oh look, it's a mock Jew.
Yeah,
it's been deliberately hidden because it doesn't fit the narrative. That's right. Things are. And that was Krista Gardner. Stephen Truthseeker says, how do they explain? I think that's do they explain Stonehenge or New Grange? Well,
we'll come back to these. Because this is kind of like where we want to take it. So if you want to read a couple more comments out, but we can come back to this. The New Grange and what's the other one? Carnac in France. There's a massive stone. It's huge, isn't it? I mean, it just goes on for a long time. Just stone lines of stones,
circles, and amazing. And Patrick says, "Are you sure you're not talking about women?" Yes, no, we're not talking about women.
No, we're still kind of fond of women sometimes. When we don't get spawn,
not the mock Jew women, not the mock Jew women. The ones with umpteen bras on, with all the bra straps, as they're walking down the road, it's sort of like blob. There's like an eclipse when they bend over. Right, advanced technology then is basic technology now. Yes, you got a good point there.
Yes. I mean, how many times have we gone through history? Because I subscribe to evolution, right? And I said I would bring evolution up, but for now, what I'm going to say is, I subscribe to evolution, but I also think that we've done society before. I think we've cycled through this before, and I think something catastrophic happened, and it must have wiped the slate clean. There must have been something there because it just wiped it, and then I think we've started again. And I think our technology has become the problem now. Unfortunately, it's given us the ability to create a mess that we can't necessarily clean up for a very long time, and I think that's technocratic misuse.
Well, if some disaster happened, because Graham Hancock, it says 10,400 years ago, a disaster did happen on this earth, and there's a few survivors, and he reckons these few survivors went to live with the indigenous people or tribal people who, I mean, let's face it, if there's a Carrington event, then that is where you have a solar flare that knocks out your electricity, which happened in 1859, I think it was, and it blew telegraph cables. Our electricity would go off and we would be snookered. You wouldn't be able to get any money, you wouldn't get any food, anything. But tribes in the Amazon and Africa wouldn't even know any difference. None at all. They just
get on with life without a problem.
Yeah. Wouldn't even.
I mean, can you imagine now if they switched off all of our modern conveniences, right? They just overnight, if they switched off electricity, people wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know. I mean, especially if vehicles go completely electric as well. I mean, they wouldn't be able to go to work. They wouldn't be able to travel. They wouldn't be able to go and get food. Everything would just come to a standstill.
That's right.
This is the problem with it. And so, have we had that kind of technology in the past? Potentially. I mean, it's possible that we've had electricity generators in the past. It's possible that we've had some kind of. I mean, personally, I mean, if you look at the history of the Ark, as in the Ark of the Covenant, right? So if you look at that, the way that that's described is some kind of like a I'm not going to say fusion reactor, but it certainly seems to have been a conduit that wasn't quite stabilized, and somehow, wouldn't surprise. What I'm saying is, it wouldn't surprise me if that was some kind of device that they use to control people's minds and create a religion around it. And again, I've got no evidence to back that up. But if you go by biblical accounts, it's quite interesting that wherever that thing went, it seemed to cause a lot of mass destruction and death.
You're right. But they did a documentary about, must be a good 20 years ago, which what would happen if civilization ended. And they reckoned that the lights would still continue to shine in America with Hoover Dam, because it's built to run for about 10 or 20 years without humans touching it. So there would still be electricity being generated there. But that would be the last place you'd actually have lighting or electricity. And they reckon that it would be cats and pigeons and that would survive, but dogs wouldn't, unless they go wild, because they're too domesticated. But you think what would be left? I mean, our buildings would crumble to nothing. And the only things that would be left would be buildings like the Empire State Building, which was well built, although the steel would probably rust away in time.
Well, as soon as it rusts, it's going to crumble, isn't it? So
that's right. Although to a certain extent, the rust does protect it. It sounds a bit weird, but I think that the written word, paper would just rot away. These memory sticks,
which are completely bloody useless after a certain couple of years. A couple of years, you've had the problem with recently. I had a problem with a hard drive a couple of years back. Yeah, and no guarantees.
And I think that what would be left of our civilization? Cars would rust away. There'd be archaeologists, for the few survivors, and they started civilization again in 10,000 years' time, would be digging down, and the only thing they would find would be like what we've found. Things like Hoover Dam, and they think, must have been advanced technology there, or maybe the Empire State Building, maybe, but nothing else. I don't think there'd be very much else. So, and I'm wondering whether
it'll be a colossal mess. Whatever they find, you're going to find industrial waste everywhere. I mean, it's we've scarred the landscape with this crap for far too long. So I suspect that would survive. I mean, if you're on about a full scale cataclysmic event, I mean, yes, it would probably wipe all trace of civilization out, but it would take a long time for everything to decompose or to it would leave a mark. Which is why I've got a little bit of a problem with the whole idea of a previous civilization on the basis that, we're finding stone monuments and temples and things that go back to something like 10,000 BC, but we don't really find anything technological. We don't find anything that's really in line with the modern state of the buildings and steel and things like that. We don't find anything like that. So if there is you know, these ancient civilizations, such take Atlantis for an example. Where's the evidence that they were there? I'm not dismissing it. What I'm saying is you can't really claim it as a fact. I mean, I know a lot of people do on YouTube especially, but I remain to be convinced that it was a technological civilization. Perhaps it was something that was destroyed by natural events and maybe set them back, not necessarily to the Stone Age. But I don't think there were. What am I trying to say? I think if we look at Mesopotamian civilization, I think that's kind of where they were, and they were starting to go beyond that, and maybe something happened to knock them back. I'm not so sure. I go for the whole power plants and the pyramid was an electricity generator and things like that. I just don't see any real evidence to support that, unfortunately.
But when you talk, I mean, you're talking about evolution. Now, I don't believe in. I believe in adaptation, but I think with evolution, the idea that we came from pond life or whatever, or monkeys and that, I don't really buy that one, because let's face it, a monkey, when you look at a monkey, its skin is much thicker than ours, and if it got lucky and stood up on two legs or walked out on this great African savannah, it would have been a nice tasty meal for something. So the reason they swing through trees is for their own protection. So I don't know, but I sort of steer away from that a little bit. But this is an interesting one. Stephen Truthseeker says, how do you navigate from? Yes. And then we got reconciliation. Patrick says, there is a pyramid near Chicago. Really?
There's pyramids all over the place. I mean, there's pyramids in Romania and you know,
Bosnia,
Eastern Europe, and you know, they're all over the place. And China, well, obviously China's done a good job at destroying a lot of their history, but even China's got pyramids. You know, you've got Cambodia, yeah.
It's under the sea with Japan. They've got pyramids under the sea. It's sort of weird.
Well, yeah. So we've got that Yonaguni type structure as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's
right. Because that's another one that Graham Hancock dived on, because he was a diver. He dived down on it. But I think he's onto something. I really do. Because I think that what it is, these archaeologists, a lot of them, they can't see the wood from the trees. And I've actually found that when you're, say, designing something, you get so intense thinking of something that to try and find the answer, whereas the answer is very, very simple. It's embarrassingly simple, but you're getting too technical. And this is what's happening, I think, with, sorry, not you personally, but you know, I agree. But let's face it, they get so far up their own arse, it's a wonder their eyes are not brown. This is the trouble. And it takes someone like a journalist, like Graham Hancock and that, to look at it from a different angle. So, well, I don't know. It's a bit like the King's new clothes, you know. Little kids, the King's in the all together, you know. But Ricky Siliation says,
with Graham Hancock. Sorry to interrupt. There's a couple of people that are. There was another guy called Adrian Gilbert that looked into a lot of what Graham Hancock talks about as well, and. So I kind of feel sorry for Graham Hancock, because he's not just attacked by the mainstream; he's also attacked by you know, for want of a better word, the truther industrial complex. He seems to be mutually hated by both sides, and it's like, well, if you read Graham's books, he'll always say that whenever he gets something wrong, he will admit it. He'll put if he does a new edition of his book, he'll put it in the back and he'll say, right, the book remains as it was when it was first published. However, here's the amendments to my current stance on it, right? So I like the fact that he can be honest and say, yeah, I got some things wrong, right? And the fact that the guy is attacked from all sides, I find quite bizarre, because all he's doing is looking into things and saying, well, I would like an answer for that, because what the mainstream has given us so far doesn't really answer it at all. And then the truthers will go on and say he's either not, he's not being honest and giving us enough information, or he's making it up. Well, we've seen some of these structures that he's investigating, like Yonaguni. You mentioned that one. I mean, I was reading this stuff at 15-year-old and thinking, yeah, that definitely looks like a man-made structure, and yet it's so far under the water. The Bimini Islands, you know, they've got something similar there as well. Which, I mean, if that's a natural construct, I've never seen it. I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying is I don't think it is a natural construct. I think it's something that was there before. Just the places that he's dug into. I mean, even Egypt, it's got layers upon layers of history, and some of it, it's I mean, it's old. I mean, we're not just talking about pharaonic. We're on about pre-pharaonic structures there that defy kind of modern convention. I mean, look at the Assyrian. So we've got the pyramids, yeah. And people make their own mind up about this, but beneath the pyramid is where I find it the most fascinating, because they found a structure below one of the shafts that goes well underneath the pyramid structure, and they've been into this place, and it's like a. If anyone's familiar with Hermetics, they've covered this, so like the Hermetica and things like this. It's like God, I can't even. It's a flooded room with what appears to be 7 tombs. That's the best way I can describe it. So if anyone wants to have a look at them or not, if you go and have a look at the Osirian and just have a look at this place, and then contrast that to what the Hermetic works and the body, the books of Thoth and things like that, what they were saying about beneath the pyramids, and it matches up. It fits, the narrative fits. And what they used to say, that the halls of Amenti were below the pyramids, and this is where the 7 rulers of the world would reside. For what you want to, whatever you want to refer to them as, and yet we've got this flooded compartment with 7 tombs, and the tombs are empty. That to me, that's very, very strange to me.
Same with the pyramids. You see, they call them burial chambers.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
They say, well, tomb robbers. Well, let's face it. Let's be very blunt. If you're a tomb robber, you'd be looking for the gold. You wouldn't nick a stiff, would you? I mean, let's face it.
Not really, especially. I mean, well, look at what happened to Howard Carter, right? So he uncovered the tomb of Tutankhamun, right? And this is where we get the curse of Tutankhamun, because people actually, they died of something when they uncovered the tomb. So obviously there was some kind of pathogen or whatever. I know I'm going to get ram-raided for that one, but there was something that killed the explorers and the archaeologists. They came out and they died.
Well, no, what actually happened is one newspaper, and I don't know which one it was, I think it might have been the Express, but I could be wrong on that, had exclusive rights on that, because I think they put some finances into it. So the other newspapers, to make the story up, made up a curse.
Potentially, so that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Together, so that is actually the truth behind it. But apparently, Carter was a bit of a crook, because the Tutankhamun was unearthed in before the First World War, just before. And a lot of what was found in that tomb was sold on in Egyptian markets. So there's not quite as clear cut as we are expected to believe. And I don't know, was it 1920 something? I don't know. Oh crumbs! When was Tutankhamun's tomb officially found? But because I know that my brother-in-law's mother remembered it. She was born in 1913, so she would have remembered it. So I don't know, but
I'm not claiming to know anything. I think we're justified in questioning everything. I think we're justified in questioning the mainstream archaeology. And look, it might be that we're just misguided, but that maybe we're not. Maybe there is something there. And the fact that they're trying to stop people from investigating it tells me that actually they're trying to hide something. Because why? What's the harm in questioning the narrative? I mean, I don't know if any of your listeners have heard of a guy called David Rohl. He was what would be a mainstream archaeologist at one point, and he went into all the places in the biblical, the Canaanite lands and Mesopotamia, Egypt, places like this, and he uncovered a lot of stuff that would I suppose coincide with what Graham Hancock says and what Adrian Gilbert would say. And he basically came out and said, right, well, what I found is that, there is some truth to the biblical narrative, but it's not what you think it is. There is some archaeological evidence to support something, just not quite what you think it is. But what he did uncover is the timelines that we've been given, especially from the pharaonic timeline from Egypt, is completely wrong. The timeline that we've been given, according to David Rohl, is massively out of line. By all the mainstream archaeologists saying no, he's making it up. It's like, well, no, I'm not making it up. Look, it's consistent. and it actually backs up a lot of the biblical narrative as well. I'm not, I'm not Christian or anything like that, but to dismiss it offhand as never happening, no, I don't go for that either. It's fascinating stuff.
Well, it's flamenco. It sounds like flamenco. We was talking about this last night, so I'll try not to go to bore everybody, but for those of you that are watching, it's time to make a cup of tea. Those that are watching last night, but flamenco believes that he's looked at carbon dating, and he's a mathematician, one of the top mathematicians in Russia. He's still alive, and he believes that our calendar is 300 years out, and it's actually 1824. We are in 1824
Interesting,
now.
right? Okay.
And because we have the Middle Ages, you know why they call the Dark Ages? Know why they call it the Dark Ages? Because there's so many nights.
Well, I mean, I was always told it was the Dark Ages because, writing had basically slowed down to almost complete stop, and we'd lost track of.
Well, no, as I say, there's loads of nights about. That's why. No, anyways, that's it. But I was going to say is they found
that's terrible.
Got better and better and better as the craftsmen worked on them, and suddenly it froze for 300 years. And it started again exactly where they left off. Well, it doesn't work like that, does it? Because you'd have several generations.
Not really. I mean, nothing ever stayed. So this is what I would refer to. Look, this is going back to evolution, right? So this is the evolution of civilization, however you want to look at it. To say that it stopped at frozen time, I don't think that's consistent with anything. Everything's constantly changing all the time, and to have no, that doesn't make sense to me. Unless I mean. During the invasion of Attila the Hun, right, the collapse of the Western Roman Empire, there was apparently massive volcanic eruptions going off that blackened out the sky for years, right? So okay, that might contribute to some things going dark and apocalyptic, and technology stopping, people trying to survive as opposed to thriving through it. But maybe that explains some of it. Because we're talking about like 400 to about 600 AD for this, right? So there's 200 years that it might explain, maybe.
And apparently this country was almost wiped off the face of the earth. Wilson and Blackett, was it? Blackett? The two archaeologists that Richard D. Hall knew. They're both unfortunately passed away now. But they said that, where was it? Sorry, I can't remember the date. I haven't researched it. Sorry, but apparently this country was virtually wiped out by a meteor. I'll have to look it up. I can't. I'm just fundling now. But what I was going to say is that back to time and that, Fomenko reckons that when we introduced a new calendar, mathematicians of that time knew there was an error, but they had to keep it because it had already been launched, this calendar. But there was this error of 300 years, and it's been known. And really, as I say, we are now 1824. So, it's.
I'll tell you. Here's another one for you. I mean, again, I'm not going to dismiss that because I know I've heard people that have explained this, and I'm not dismissing it at all. So. Another one that I've noticed is I've got a friend that we travel around and like we go and view old churches around sort of like North York Moors and things like that. And when you look at the gravestones and cornerstones, and like when the cornerstones are laid, things like that, the dates are a bit weird. And there's a lot of the references to the Great War. And it says the Great War, 1914 to 1919. And I'm thinking, well, that's not consistent. We're told it's 14 to 18. And yet these grave sites in the churches.
It was the armistice when it was actually signed in 1919.
Right. Okay. That would potentially explain. But then again, we are told now in schools and colleges and universities that it was 1914 to 1918. So regardless as to an armistice being signed in 1919, technically, then it should be down still as 1919, even though ceasefire was 18.
Yeah, I mean, it was 11th hour, which I think Survival Steve would have something to say about that because
he knew numerology.
It was 11th hour, and of course, King Ferdinand, who was assassinated, which allegedly sparked the First World War. Number plate of his car was 111118.
Wow.
So, which is creepy. But you see, the thing is that from the First World War came the League of Nations, which was a complete waste of time anyway. But from that came the Geneva Convention, which in the Second World War, both sides, well, as far as my father told me, he said Germans stuck to it rigidly, absolutely rigidly, and so did we. And it's a very good thing, the Geneva, as far as I know, it was. But with wars, for example, officially, World War II, it started on the 3rd of November. But if you take into consideration Japan, it started in, I think it's 1933 or 34, when they invaded Manchuria. And officially, Second World War didn't come to the end until the Berlin Wall came down, because when it came down, and there's something numerology strange about that, because that's all 3 6s and 9s. The war could not be over until Germany was unified, and it was only when the Berlin Wall came down that Germany was unified. So officially, the war went on from 1939 to 1999, was it 98, when the Berlin Wall came down? Or was it 89? Sorry, 89, 90. I
was going to say, I'm thinking it's around 90, because I remember during the 1990s World Cup, it was still classed as West Germany.
Hang on.
I know it's a poor point of reference, but in 1990 World Cup, it was West Germany that was. So
I'm just looking up now. It is November the 9th, 1989. 1989. Sorry, I was wrong there.
Interesting. Right,
so that was when Germany was unified. So officially, that was the end of the World War II. Officially. And I know that I think it was the Scilly Isles or Isle of Man, somewhere like that. They had a big celebration about it because at the end of the First World War, they left it out. I think it was the Scilly Isles. So officially, it's still at war with Germany until about 1990 something.
Okay. That's interesting though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, the other thing with like war memorials, they used to have plaques in walls. They didn't really have war memorials as such until after the First World War, and it's a relatively new thing. War memorials, it didn't, that was the thing, but they call it, as I say, the Great War, because there's no other war like it. But then, of course, the Second World War came along. But
what happened to the war to end all wars? I mean, it's like it's a horrific process that really the general citizenry of the world, they don't want war. I mean, I don't want a war, but it's proliferated anyway. It just never stops.
Well, I think one good thing about YouTube, sorry, not YouTube, but the internet, is it has shrunk the world. We can look at civilization and people halfway around the world, and they're no longer foreign as they used to be. You can look at like Europe. If you went across to say Belgium or France, that felt very foreign. It no longer is. It just feels, it's Europe. It's part of Europe. And I watch often YouTube where you got Russians and people that's moved to Russia, English people that's moved to Russia, and their life is virtually the same as ours. I think they're going to find it a lot harder. Their false flag that they're going to start, and I'm positive they're going to do one, is going to be a lot harder to convince people that we need to go to war. I really do believe that. Than they did in 1939. Because remember, in 1939, what did you have? Radio, which was all controlled, and newspapers. That was it. So on that television, very basic,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you limit the information, then people aren't as informed as they are now. And of course, now so apparently there's hell on about they want to censor us because we're figuring out so many things. We're questioning everything, and it's spreading. It is spreading. And of course, they don't want us to figure this stuff out because then they lose their control over us. And if they can't control us, they can't push their agenda. So now they're going to go hell for leather to censor us and silence us, and that to me is the sign of overt tyranny. Anyway, look at any tyrannical regime in history, whether that be German, Russian. I'm not going to say certain words because I don't know what the algorithm will do with that under circumstances. But Germany, Russia, China, Cambodia, things like that. Take any regime, it doesn't matter whether it's the left extreme or the right extreme, and censorship is one of the first things they bring in. Book burning, essentially. And to me, it's the biggest telltale sign that we are in massive trouble here. If it's not, I'm not optimistic. Let's put it that way. But yeah, let's. Should we look at some comments? I don't want to take down Doom Avenue because
the klaxons might be warming up and the blokes got their phones on YouTube HQ. Oh, he said something naughty there. Right. Now, this is reconciliation, or Patrick. He says one of the few pyramids outside of Latin America. That's the one in outside Chicago, near Chicago. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Thanks, Patrick. Florence of the Nightingale. She's buried in East Wellow. Is she? I'm up the road from Netley, a hospital she served in. Well, she served teas, did she? Apparently, she was she liked ladies, if you get what I mean. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, she was very interested in men's naughty bits. Apparently, there's loads of stone monuments.
She wants the best of both worlds.
Yeah, so there we go. There's loads of stone monuments in North America. Stephen Truthseeker, from the ancient Druids and Vikings. Yes, that's right. I think the Vikings did get there.
Well, I mean, going back to that, and I don't know whereabouts, but in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, places like that, the runic alphabet was apparently merged with the native alphabet, and this has been, it was found to go round. What year are we on about? I think just before the turn of the millennia. A lot of the Native American tribes were found to not even just have the runic alphabet inscribed, but they were speaking in Old Norse, which is telltale sign. I mean, it's kind of a pretty much accepted fact that the Vikings managed to get to North America, which is fine. I don't see any reason why that's not possible. I mean, look at how far they traveled within Europe and to North Africa and in the Middle East. It's okay. We know that they were good seafarers, so it's quite possible. But yeah,
I think they did, because they found that a lot of tribes had European, sort of, shall we say, the odd European-looking tribe member, which would indicate that they went there for a little bit of noogie, crudely. Bloody long way to go, isn't it? That's
back there, yeah.
Nathan, let's get on the bloody boat. Let's go over to North America, shall we?
I think we'll probably kick it back out. So we're not having your riffraff.
We have one of the best public transport systems in the world until, I agree with you, this is Chris Lagarde, Dr. Beechin dismantled it. 100% agree with you. There's a track that goes for miles near me in Hertfordshire, which was a load of track that was just ripped up in 1963. Yes. Now, this is Patrick again. My auntie is half Ojibwe.
That sounds very, very African. I don't know whether it is. I'm making a guess at that. I'm not familiar with that one.
We don't know the Indian tribes, look, because we're in England, look, and talking about tribes, is Michelle Scouse. No, it's not very. That's a Birmingham accent, isn't it? That's not Scouse. Hi, folks. Long time no see. Hello, Michelle. How the heck are you, Chris? Well, I'm still here. Bit older, and yes, and now reconciliation says, yet full alcoholic. Is that your auntie? Because do you know where the saying, excuse my language, pissed as a newt comes from? Seriously.
Go on.
Well, the American GIs came over here during the war, and apparently the Inuits were known for getting pissed. And they said, they're as pissed as an Inuit, which the old Norfolk people and Suffolk people said, oh, it sounds like newt. And it stuck. Pissed as a newt, but it isn't. It's an Inuit. So that's where it comes from. But before the Americans came here, there was a saying that was unheard of. So there we go.
Fair enough.
Yes,
Piss
it's
is a
like
mute and nist is a cute.
yes, like my father said, ladies had American knickers during the war. One yank and they're off. Sorry.
No complaints with that.
Here we have Ruby Indians and Casino Indians. Yeah, they run all the casinos, aren't they? A lot of them, you know.
Well, let's be honest. They weren't exactly treated very well, were they? When we decided to go and navigate to North America and
no, we could have spread our diseases to them. Yeah, we spread our diseases to them. We actually gave them blankets that deliberately was it full of smallpox or something, so they'd get it. We're nice like that, you know.
Surprise me. Well, look at what we did. I say we. I mean, I think it was more to be
British.
fair, it was more the
British did it, not the English.
No, yeah, but look at when we went to Peru and South America. I mean, look at the damage we did there. I mean, practically obliterated the Inca Empire.
Well, I think the Spanish had something to say about that. I think they did that.
Yeah, exactly.
We got bad parents can up a good kid. I agree with you. Yes.
I think they do.
Yeah. Casino Indians, aka feather Indians. And we got here any lycra while cycling? No. No, I'm strictly jeans and in the summer wear a t-shirt, and in the winter weather I wear jeans and an M65 jacket. So, you know, an old one. And look all right bleeding scruff as well. Now, nobody special. Hello, we've got another Chris. Chris, the Beatles were the Pied Pipers of the counterculture, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, moral debasement of Western civilization. Not just them alone, but they were a Tavistock operation. Spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. That's it.
Bloody hell! I mean, that's a loaded sentence there. I like that. That's
yeah.
I think, to be fair, there's a hell of a lot of Pied Pipers in that particular period of history that have pretty much formed society the way it is now. I mean, if you look at the influence that the pop culture, the flower power movement, the new age movement, the these new rock stars, new music even being introduced back then, it was. That was a social engineering operation to the hilt. I mean, that's pretty, yeah.
Apparently, Michael Jackson wanted to buy some of their musical rights from the Tavistock Centre, who actually owned them.
Interesting.
And the thing about the Beatles, I thought the early Beatles, I'm going to upset a lot of people now, weren't all that. A bit crap, actually. I didn't go much on them. And it's only when did you know that when Sergeant Pepper's came out and they heard it, they said, "Oh, this is a nice group. This is a good group. Who are they?" They didn't recognise it because they were so pissed out their mind. Yeah, and it was an engineer's thing, but you know,
I didn't mind them. To be fair, the Beatles are all right. They've got some good ones. They had some bad ones, and
was it "She Loves You"? Yeah. What was it? With a face like that, you know you should be glad, wasn't it? With a face like that, you know you should be glad. I had a mate once. Name was Mike Hunt. Yes.
Oh, lovely.
Ask for that over the tannoy in a station.
Yeah.
Deborah says,
fantastic. Good English name, is it?
That's as bad as Mike Oxlom. Mike.
I think we missed something on that one. Must have missed something.
Oh, I got it. Mike Ox.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking for context for some of the historical stuff. I'm thinking, no, yeah, I like that. I can relate to that one.
Now, Chris, nobody special. There are many who have researched the subject of the Beatles. I think you know somebody that has as well.
I do.
Mike Devlin, there he is. Yep, that's the man. And Mike Williams, the Sage of Quoy.
Sage of Quoy. Yeah. He's another. I think he's another researcher. I'm not too familiar with him, but I'm aware of him. Yeah.
Were a creation to break down the culture of Western civilization. And if you listen to the tune "Little Man" by Sonny and Cher, if you listen to the person that's playing the whatever it is they're playing, that ding, ding oh, what is it now? Oh, they're playing an instrument. You realise a person can't play that instrument. Seriously. But
but again, so that would suggest to me that it's massively staged, and so that falls in line with the whole like the comment that's made there. Tavistock programming, Laurel Canyon, things like that. Are we even allowed to say that on here anymore? Yeah, it's definitely got military connections, and so social engineering, and it's all tied into that. I wonder what music would be like now had it not been effectively synthetic. I think we'll go.
Well, I'm actually into big band sound, and it's bloody good because when you hear it, it is it's really clever. I mean, there's big band sound, and I think it has just evolved from that. Really, I mean, really, when you look at, they say it was Elvis Presley, but it was really the chap was it Rock Around the Clock. Bill Haley. He was he was really the first. It's debatable whether it's Elvis Presley or not. And now Reconsider says track suits and man buns on their head, aka neo hipsters. Yes, so you've got a plague of them in America. You see, I actually saw one of these hipster types walking along a couple of years back, and he had a dog on a leash. Now, where a person would hold a dog leash, sort of like that, he was holding it like that with his hand up like this, going, dainty. And he had one.
Sorry, apologies there, because I'm going through some of the comments because there was a few that were relevant.
Chavez in the tune. Do they really? That's Jojo Gizmo. Now let's have a look.
Because so Chav, I know what he's referring to there. So yeah, apparently Sunderland, some other areas around they refer to them as Chavas, but effectively in tune for town. I think that's where he's gone with that one. But yeah, that's another. Or Scallies, if in Newcastle they refer to them as Scallies.
Scallywags. Hereditous Getfoot says they've got no future. They go to school where they teach you how to be thick. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Because we should be taught how to question and investigate. That's what we should learn. And I always remember. Sorry, carry on.
No. Finish that.
No,
I can come back to
that. What's this? Baby with a laser. Thou's grand pet read.
Yeah, that's more Geordie speak.
Yeah, I can't speak Geordie.
Yeah.
And
baby with a laser. Can we go back? I don't know how far I can go back through the comments. Let me see.
I'll go backwards and forwards how far you want.
There's Crystal Gardner made one here.
I've marked off Mark Anthony's one, which is going to be read out next.
All right. No. There's one where Crystal Gardner mentioned there. Nathan, are you aware of ancient Indian flying machines? Can we go to that one?
I must have missed that one. I didn't see that one.
It's a fair way back.
Have you got the time when he mentioned it?
I've just bloody lost it. Hold on a sec. I'll see if I can. Right. Yeah. How do I find the time?
It might be ahead of us. I don't know.
No, I'm not so sure. It's quite a while back, but I don't know because this is it's near. All right, food. So we've got Stephen Truthseeker made a comment after that.
There it is. No, it's ahead.
Yeah.
Are you aware of? Because he disagreed with you a little bit earlier. So, are you aware of ancient Indian flying machines? There's on an Indian tomb in India. There's a picture of a bloke on a bicycle. Several of them.
Interesting.
So not a picture, a carving. I'm not talking about a picture. It's a carving of a bloke on a bicycle.
Right. So I mean, you said there was he disagreed with me. Can you find that as well?
Because yes, I'll find that. I've got to disagree with you, Nathan. This is healthy. This is good. There is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, when people disagree with me, I've learned more from people that disagree with me
Yeah, well, this is how we learn, right? And so
this is
even
what the
better if
show's
we're wrong
about.
because we learn from it. So
Politely
yeah.
sort of. There is plenty of evidence to support the theory that we have been more technologically advanced. Yes, I agree.
So
I think, yeah, I think we have been.
I've got a little bit of an obsession with the Mesopotamian history. So if anyone who's familiar with the Akkadian Babylonian origin stories, things like that. And I think I know what he's on about where he says about the Indian flying machines. So the Vimanas, right? These which goes back to the like the Krishna era and the Rama Sita period of history. Again, it's not so much that I'm dismissing it, mate. It's I mean, yeah, okay. You could argue that it's been deliberately covered up, it's been lost. Again, I'm not dismissing it in the slightest. In fact, I would seriously subscribe to the idea that we've cycled through epochs of civilization and it's been wiped, and then there's been another one. So it's not so much dismissing, but more a case of I'd like to see some hard evidence for it, because I'm a Graham Hancock fan, and believe me, I've been lambasted for it by truthers from every direction. I mean, they accuse him of being a shill, etc., etc. And I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I mean, David Icke talks about this kind of stuff as well. I put a lot of faith in Icke. I've got a lot of respect for Icke. I've got a lot of respect for Hancock, for Adrian Gilbert, etc., etc., etc. Right? Even Michael Tsarian, another fantastic researcher, author, etc. I'm not at all dismissive of it. I mean, I'd like to think that there's a little bit of truth in the Sumerian records. You know, we talk about the Anunnaki, right? And that's going to flag up on YouTube. So I apologize about that. You're going to get a fact check warning. You won't get kicked off for it. But you know, the Anunnaki and the research that surrounds that. I mean, if you look at the ancient the stone monuments that were left from that period. I mean, they're wearing wristwatches, for God's sake. You know, and this goes back to 3000 BC in some cases, 4000 BC. They're anthropomorphized. Is that the right word? You know, kind of like a cross between animals and humans. I mean, just the skill of the people who were carving those things, the skill of the people who were building those temples. Yeah, I mean, that was advanced knowledge. That was advanced mathematical ability and stuff like that. I mean, there's so much there. So I'm certainly not dismissive of it. I think I'm just trying to be devil's advocate in terms of I want to see something a little bit more of more substance. Certainly not dismissing it at all.
Okay.
I subscribe to all of it. Yeah.
Stephen Truthseeker says they're going up on you. I also disagree with that. That's fair enough.
How far back is that one?
That's forward. That is 8:54. And we got here. We got here Cinnamon and Nutmeg. So as the apocalypse is nigh, I would highly recommend Survive the Apocalypse with Survival Von Steve. Laugh out loud.
That's called a shameless plug. That I'm going to do a shameless. Can I do a shameless plug?
Yeah.
Right.
You got to plug the book anyway. Right. Yeah, come away.
There we go.
Oh,
right. So,
very nice. Bloody hell, that's a bit glossy, isn't it? Oh,
yeah. So this is my new book. There's my name down there with Survival Steve or Steve James. Just to give you an idea of content. This thing there's a lot in there.
Bloody hell, it's a bit thick.
So yeah, I figured I'd give it a shameless plug. So if anyone's interested, it's available
now.
Hang
on, we'll have a little banner along the bottom. So hang on, you got your email address under your name, haven't you?
Yeah, that's my publishing name. Apparently, I'm my own publishing company now. Somehow, I don't know how it happened, but it's happened. But if you would like a copy, if you'd like a signed copy, get in touch with me through that email at the bottom. If you want to get it more direct, because I'm still waiting for a new shipment of books to come. If you want it more direct, you can go on Amazon. It's hardback. Well, it's not hardback. It's paperback for the minute. There is a Kindle version on the way, but it needs a few tweaks to the format. But it will be going live for anybody who's interested, and it'll be half the price of the paperback book. But there you go. And I know this is showing off a bit. I've even got some merchandise here, like mouse mats. There's my logo on there. I have shown off a bit now, and then I've got mugs. So there we go. So if anyone would like, let's get in touch with me through that email, and let's see what we can do. So there you go, shameless plug, and also shout out to Steve James as well, because he contributed quite heavily to that book, as did you. We've got some fantastic content in there from Mark Devlin, John Hamer, Chris Powis, and many. Well, I think there's 7 people in total that have contributed to it. So yeah.
Right.
So there you go. Shameless plug finished. I'll leave it there. We'll go back.
There it is, and it's going along the bottom as well. How about that?
Wow. Oh, I like that. How have you done that?
Well, you know.
Oh, he's showing off now, Chris.
When you've been bullshitting for as long as I have, you tend to, you know.
Professional. You was good at So, right, come on, let's go back to me being picked on here, because again, look, I've got no qualms with being wrong at all. So if people think I'm wrong, that's absolutely fine. I'd like to know why, in terms of what they think that I'm wrong on. Let's investigate it. Let's dig into it. Let's dig in.
I mean, let's face it. When it comes to women, we are experts at being wrong, aren't we? I mean,
we are expert repulsors. I think at this point, you know, yeah. I think we've created a new class of expertise in this one, mate. Yeah. You know, we can look at them and send them going the opposite way. You know,
I mean, if there's someone that gets women, you know, tapping on their window at night and just won't leave them alone, you know, and they're following them along the streets, we can tell that person how to put them off easy, bloody easy.
With absolute precision. Oh yeah, I'm very good at that. Very good at that.
Could it be when we kiss, when we go, give us a kiss, darling, you know?
What's a kiss? What's one of them?
Kiss.
What's one of them?
Yeah, when you kiss the ladies outside the house, you know.
No, I never get close. Do you know what? A couple of years ago, this is embarrassing. Right? A couple of years ago, I got that close to a kid, and she said, "No, I can't do it," and I was like, "What?" You've got that close, and then you've just gone, "Nah, it's all right." So yeah, that's as close as I got in the last 4 years. Thanks for that.
Well, great. You know that you heard about a couple that now hang on, I've got to work this one out. He had he had smelly feet and she had smelly breath. You see,
smelly feet.
They fell in love with each other, and that's it. No, sorry, yes, he had the smelly. That's it. And before they said goodnight to each other, they disappeared for 10 minutes, and she'd gargle with some TCP and Ajax and Christ knows what, and he would go and wash his feet, you know, and good night, darling, and rush off. You see. Well, they decided that it was getting so, you know, a little bit intimate. They decided to be honest with each other, and he said, she said, darling, she said, I've got something to tell you. And he said, don't tell me you've eaten one of my socks. It's a shit joke, though, isn't it? That's behind
the mic. Where did you dig them up from?
That's a real crap joke. I admit it myself. Now we got here the ancient megaliths, etc., are all part of the Matrix simulation to give us Matrix dwellers a sense of wonderment. Ancient history didn't exist in the way we think. It's a simulation.
This is a favorite of mine, because Matrix theory or holographic theory or simulation theory, whatever you want to refer to it as, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I actually think there's a lot of truth in that. Without going into it, because that would take us off topic, but yeah, I mean, if anybody in the chat's familiar with a guy called Jason Brashears and his Archaics channel, my God, if you're not familiar with him, go and get familiar, because his stuff, it's fantastic and it's amazing. And he's done some very, very good debunks of certain YouTubers, certain narratives, and yeah, go on there. The thing is, though, he hates Graham Hancock with a passion, so it's interesting to watch the dynamic there as well. Yeah, I subscribe to Matrix or simulation.
You know that Time Team, what was his name now? I used to call him Geo Fizz.
Tony Robinson.
Tony Robinson, because all you said was, well, we've got Geo Fizz here and there's Geo Fizz there. He said one thing, which I agree with him. He said, when an archaeologist doesn't know what an artifact is, they say it was for religious purposes. You know,
Yeah.
what is it? Oh, it's religious purposes. Well, I actually, when you look at it, you can look at things. It's a bit like I read years ago, Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods and things like that. And you know, there's a bloke. It looks like with a spacesuit on, but it could be an
Yes.
ancient
Yeah.
goldfish bowl on his head or something like that. You just don't know. You see.
Yeah.
Now, I actually I looked at Stonehenge from an architectural point of view, and I've sussed it out, and I think it was an ancient public laboratory approved by the local town council, the Stone Age Town Council. Because who else would put, excuse my language, a shithole in the middle of nowhere in beautiful countryside?
I disagree with you on the print. No, I disagree with you because you know they'd have charged for that, and there'd have been a payment station just outside as you entered.
But you see, there's a ditch around the outside, and you can see where to put the sunny lav. You see where they sat around in the carsy. So, and nobody used it because you think about it, and you're out hunting, you're caught short. Where'd you go? See, so there's a public lavatory there. See, so that's what
they
I
weren't,
think.
they weren't as insane as we are now. They didn't charge people for a piss. Now they're taking the piss. You know.
Don't believe it, folks. I made it all up. You'll have all these druids.
Hey, mate, I don't know whether this is
crap.
No. Do you know that they've got cameras in some toilets now?
Yeah.
Public toilets, they have cameras, and in the toilets. I'm not being funny, but since when's that been acceptable?
Goodness,
it's crazy. But yeah.
But, actually, when I was caught short, and I went to I assure you, I do not frequent there very often. Waltham Cross, they've got like a little precinct, and I need to go to the loo, so I went to the loo. And when I went into the carsy, they got all these bloody posters written in foreign languages, nothing English. What's it about? Oh, another one. Now wash your hands. Not please wash your hands, but now wash your hands. Oh,
yeah. And then they teach you how to do it step by step, as if we're not mature enough to figure that shit out for ourselves. It's like, oh, thanks for teaching me how to do all that. Yeah, I really didn't know how to do that. Thanks for that.
Have you seen those new hand dryers? But apparently the ones that blow hot air are bad because they blow all the bacteria or whatever it is all over the leaving germ theory. But there's these new ones that are sort of down low, and you put your arms in, and it keeps all the splashes away. And that someone sent a picture on Facebook, and someone's put a sign. The council put the sign up. This is not a urinal.
That's why they were.
Now it's got Viminalas, I think they are called. Yes. Now let's go down a bit.
It's interesting again. I mean, if we take the ancient Hindu traditions, I mean, they definitely make references to flying machines. You've just mentioned that there's stone carvings of people that definitely have spacesuit equipment, or it looks like that. We've got inscriptions on the pyramids. I don't know whether it's I don't think it's the pyramids actually. I think it's the temples near the pyramids, or Karnak or something like that, where there's a helicopter carved into wood. Some really weird. It's a shame we don't have graphics, but either that's modern day graffiti, or there's some real strange stuff that we're missing from the past. One of the things that always used to intrigue me is I've heard stories that in Peru you've got these gateways, and you've got these stone doors, right? You can't open them. It's just an archway, like a square arch. And apparently, there's been people who've recounted them, experiences, stories, whatever you want to refer to it as, where they've sat next to these things and then just disappeared through them. And there's been some wacky experiences. And again, I mean, we're not talking about transportation in the modern sense, right? We're talking about instantaneous teleportation to somewhere else entirely. Again, I've got nothing to back up this as fact. I certainly don't dismiss it. I'd love to visit one of these things and try out for myself. Hopefully, it's not.
But I think that, I mean, look at that Viking there's villages. Well, first of all, there's some Vikings. A lot of them, a whole town of them disappeared, and there's some villages in Canada. I think Indian villages right up sort of north to Alaska, sort of thing, near Alaska, where they went there, and this was in I think the 60s, and the whole place is deserted, and people left meals on the table as if they'd just run off. Weird, bit like
they were attacked and taken into slavery or something. But I mean, there's Roanoke as well. The isn't it Virginia? There's like a small I can't remember exactly where it was. Roanoke, and that was abandoned, completely abandoned. And by the time there was a new shipment come in, the whole settlement was just gone. It was I can't remember the whole thing about that. I should have done some more research for this. Let's have a look at some more of these comments, because I tell you what, you got some fascinating ones.
And this is Stephen Treeseeker. How do they align ancient stone monuments with the sun, moon, and stars, Nathan? With great difficulty, I think my answer would be.
No, again, so this is something that got me into the whole truthosphere as well, about the pyramids being aligned with Orion's belt. Yeah, I concur. It is definitely. I mean, if we take the ancient astronomy or ancient astrology, whatever you want to refer to it as, it's the oldest science, right? So we figured out a lot of the stuff just through observing the stars, the sky, the sun, the moon, etc., etc. And of course, you know, these astrological bodies have been referred to as gods. God, I mean, the mythology behind it it's fantastic. So I don't know if that's a question of whether you're. I'm sorry, I apologize if I'm misreading it, but I don't dismiss that at all. In fact, I would argue that a hell of a lot of the ancient monuments are definitely aligned to astrological bodies. I think that was an original form of worship for them trying to figure things out, and then I think that's where a lot of the mythology comes from as well.
I'm particularly interested in sundials and weathercocks and that, and I actually make sundials. And the ones that go on the wall, the calculations for that. I mean, luckily we've got computers now, and you just put in your how many degrees north and south and whatever you are, and it works out for you. But when you put one on the wall, that's much more complicated than putting a flat. Making a flat one, and you think that sundials have been around for years, and the calculations years ago that they had to make to get that right, unless they sort of waited every hour and just made a mark and then made another hour, but getting it all lined up, and it's surprising how accurate sundials can be or are. And the problem is people buy sundials off of the internet or go on holiday and that. And of course, the gnomон's got to be the right angle. I mean, where we live, where I am, it's 52 degrees. In Spain, it's 38 degrees, which would look towards the Earth being round. And of course, if you go to the equator, the sun will be directly above you. So what happens is that I think that it increases by degrees the further north you go. So I know that Scotland, I think this is I think we're 52 here, and I think right the way up top of Scotland, I think it goes up to about 56 or something like that. And of course, you go to the North Pole, and it's different, but it's a fascinating subject, sundials. And when the sun comes out, which is a bit rare nowadays, it never ceases to fascinate me. I check my watch and I look at it and I think, bloody hell, it's on. It takes time to set it all up, but it's easy now because you've got a computer. You can do it on a computer. But geometry,
that's not really the same, though, is it? That's taking the mystery out of it, and the precision in the mathematics, and that's taking.
But the Egyptian sundials, and there's one apparently that still works. Well, it's just past a shadow, but the Egyptians, so they must know a lot about the geometry. Because
look at obelisks. What's to say they're not got some kind of like a time measuring device? I mean, I know there's a lot of theories about obelisks, but I mean they're also masculine It's, you know, they've been equated to the phallus, and it's got
phallic symbols, aren't they?
yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
I think that has something to do with the sun to record time. I mean, you know.
But there was an archaeologist who was a bit of a dropout, and he said that was archaeologists see willies everywhere, but he said there may not be phallic symbols. There may be something else. It could be, but you know, when you look into shadows, when you get the bug of sundials, it really is fascinating, because you think, wow, how, and they're the real complicated ones. You can tell all different alignments, the stars, all kinds of things. It's you know, but
well, just to what you were saying earlier about them being like horizontal, not horizontal, vertical, and being placed on a wall. So we've got one of those in Middlesbrough. If anyone's familiar with it, there's a place called Albert Park in Middlesbrough. It's got one of these old war memorials, and it's kind of like a clock, just outside of that, and it actually has a sundial in the way that you were describing it there, not on a vertical axis, not a not flat on a horizontal axis, and it tells you that depending on where you place them, the outcome's different. So I'll tell you what, next time I go there, which hopefully will be a long time, I don't like the place. I'll take a picture of it and show you and see if I can get
yes, please. Yeah,
I'll see if I can get that for you.
I know that sundial goes berserk in February. This gets a little bit inaccurate because they wobble, the Earth wobble and things like that. But you find true north with it and things. But as I say, wall ones are a bit of a sod to set up. I want to put one on my shed, and we'll put another one because I've got the flat ones. But the simplest ones actually are the armory ones. Believe it or not, they look more technical, but they're easiest to set up. But it's the, as I say, the vertical ones that are the more complicated. Now we got here. I'm up for doing a Philly Schofield as long as Man Friday ain't Keir Starmer. Stammer rather. Friday night fish and chips would never be the same again. That's actually.
Oh, I'm not commenting on that one.
Might be of interest. Oh, by the way, Chris the Gardener said you might be interested in the stiff. Oh, that's the stiff in a tomb. If you were Benjamin Franklin. Weird.
There's a bit, there's a bit about him coming out recently, isn't there? About
yeah.
I think isn't he the guy who used to come over to France a lot during the civil, like the revolutionary period, and they found a load of bodies under a house that he used to stay in. I think that was Ben Franklin.
Yeah,
I don't know whether that's the same.
But mind you, Hachi says, Chris the Gardener, let's be more modern. Jim can fix it, because he had a thing about stiffs, didn't he? He used to like because he was caught red-handed in the Moultrie. And and because did I tell you about Dave Starbuck? He interviewed when Jimmy Savile was at the top of his career, because Dave Starbuck was an old style journalist, and a nurse saw him, and as a journalist you get a lot of cranks making up lots of weird things, like, did you know I got a nuclear bomb in my pocket, that sort of type of person. Anyway, this nurse, she said that she caught Jimmy Savile in the Moultrie red-handed, and he wrote it all down, and and when she went out the room, he thought, oh, I've got a bloody crank here, and chucked it all in the bin, and he regretted that to the end of his life. And when it came out about Jimmy Savile, he tried to locate the woman. Unfortunately, she passed away at that time. But what she said was true. She caught him, I won't go into explicit details, but shall we say having intimate moments with the corpses. Ugh.
Yeah, and that would have been brushed under the rug at the time, just like so much of it was. So
Jimmy Savile. Not Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris.
Rolf Harris.
Yes,
with his extra leg. I wonder what he could have been referring to there with their two little boys and his Jake the Peg. I can't for the life of me think where he might have got those.
No. But you imagine being a child in hospital and they say, Jimmy Savile can't make it today. You go, at last, and suddenly you hear a didgeridoo coming up the stairs. Oh no! But let's face it, Rolf Harris. It always amazed me how he kept at the top of the chart, because his act never changed. It was the same old crap, didgeridoo and wobble balls. All right, you got a wobble ball, go wobble ball. So bloody what? But his didgeridoo thing. Did you know that when he sung "Sun in Her Eyes," he admitted it was done on violins? Yeah, they did it on violins. They didn't do it on a didgeridoo.
I don't know. The guy just always giving me the creeps. I can't really say anything about that because I never liked him.
No, not at all. Actually.
I mean, I didn't suspect that, but I just found the guy.
Jimmy Savile, I never said. You know, now then, and there's a reason he said things 3 times, wasn't there? That's something to do with because he was the seventh.
It's a method of NLP, isn't it? To train your brain to. I mean, it's the rule of 3 as well. I mean, I'm sure Steve, if he's in the chat, to repeat things 3 times, it's to get it lodged into the psyche. And even as now then, well, that's putting people into a state of dissonance because it's now, then, now, and then, now, and then. So it's I don't know. I mean, maybe it wasn't deliberate.
Well, apparently it was. I saw an interesting program or a documentary that somebody made about Rolf Harris because he was something weird because I think it was his seventh son of the seventh son, which is a bit weird. One of the pyramids, Jojo Gizmo says, had a horn on the wall. No jokes, please. At the entrance to the tomb, and a sign saying "Toot and come in." Oh, bloody! Oh, wow! I like that
one. Did we just walk straight into that one? Literally, didn't we?
There was this Idiot Skeptic says, "Whatever happened to Terry's pyramid?" Sorry, just talking trash. It's Chris. He gets you going.
Oh dear.
Right, it says here, correct timeline of pharaohs have been changed. Same with the Bible. This is true, Stephen Truthseeker. Well, there was a chap talking on who's that New Zealand bloke now? I can't think of his name now. Jimmy Eastwood, something Eastwood. Vinny Eastwood. And he reckons that the
is it Vinny Eastwood?
Vinny Eastwood. He reckons that I don't hear much of him now. He got more New Zealand based, not international based, and obviously what's happening in New Zealand, sort of is not of interest from around the world as such, unless it's something that affects us. But I don't mean in a selfish way, but things like, oh, we're going to go down to such and such a club tonight, and the Mrs. So and so of should we have a zebra crossing here and all that. But anyway, what I was going to say, he's good though, Vinny Eastwood. He does do international stuff occasionally now, but and this chap he's talking to said that the pharaohs never went away. They just reinvented themselves, and what we have now with the Rothschilds and people like that are the pharaohs. So that's quite interesting.
There's also there's a link there between the gypsies, the Romani gypsies, isn't there? That they claim to have some kind of lineage back that dates back to the pharaohs.
India. That's right.
Which is, again, it's all interesting. Can I? Sorry, I'm just reading through a couple of the comments here, and obviously my
Oh, hang on a minute.
I was self-taught. I was self-taught. I left school early and I taught a lot of this stuff to myself.
That's the best way to be taught. Sorry, that is the best way. Thickodemics, I can't bloody stand. Sort
of. Well, yeah, they spend a lot of time putting people off. Can I? If I put some book titles in the chat?
Certainly.
I'm not going to link them because YouTube hates it. But if I type some, right. Sorry, keep talking. I'll put some links, some references in.
Baby with a Laser says something very interesting. Oh, by the way, Savile was born on Halloween, and we're talking. That was what we were talking about last night. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And now, Hadji said, have a conversation on Tartaria. Isn't that the red light district, Tartaria? Beats the doodah out of Ken Dodd and the Diddy Men. Happiness, I'm almost in tears. Yes, Tartaria, that's interesting. Chris, I know someone who had first-hand experience of Savile. I spent years calling him out to cries of, but he does a lot for charity. Knew he was a wrong un years ago. That's Baby with a Laser. So that's interesting. Now, regarding the First World War, I was taught 1914 to 1917. No, 1918, the armistice was signed. My great grandfather was in the army till 1919. Yes, that's Casbah. Now,
Right,
Krista Gardner can't wait for Clippy Pilchard hiding in the shadows. Okay. Now, this is interesting. Baby with a laser. This is Krista Gardner says, I know someone who worked at the Sun newspaper. You wouldn't believe how many famous people are perverts. They covered up no end stories. It pissed my mate off, so he left. And talking about newspapers, oh, by the way, this is Deborah. She says, what about, I won't read the name out. I do believe he means, yeah. Yes.
Another increasingly creepy individual.
Hi.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm squeaky clean. I'm a Christian, you know. I'm just so squeaky clean. You know, I don't even. I'm so squeaky clean that my toilet paper when I wipe my ass is always clean. You know, like,
it probably comes out cleaner than what it was when you picked it up, right?
That's right. Have you ever seen those cringily awful films he made in the 1960s? A sick bag isn't big enough. You'd need a dustbin. It's so bad. So hello, I'm Cliff. That was always the name, didn't I? But now what we got here. Remember the Freemasons' days, 11, 11, 11, 33 equals 33. Regardless, the banks win every war. That's right.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the old adage, isn't it, that no matter who wins, we lose. You know, there might be wars going on internally between certain factions, but we all seem to be the ones on the losing side of it. So, yeah, it's an interesting one.
Now, it says here, in some cathedral grounds, they have war memorials, and it's dedicated to him. In my opinion, that not Jesus, it's Lucifer.
This one, I've gone into some detail with in my new book that's not released yet, because that's not as clear cut as it might sound. In fact, there's an Old Testament to Lucifer, which is basically it's almost like an offhand comment about a king, and not to do with a fallen angel. It's a comment about a king using astrology as a reference. And when you contrast Lucifer and to Jesus, there's a crossover there. But maybe that's for another episode. I think we'll go into that in a lot more detail.
Kitty. I got it. Thanks, mate. Baby with the laser. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Kitty. Hi, Kitty.
I don't know what that was.
Well, there was a couple that used to live opposite me, and one of his blokes that he worked with stopped a car on the embankment one night, and there was 4 fellas dressed as women, and one of them was, hi. You know, I won't say his name because he's got better lawyers, you know. But now what we got here? We got here.
Yeah.
Now, Elm Guest House, yes. Now it says here, was it? Hereditary Skeptic. My granddad died in a POW camp. He fell out of a watchtower, pissed.
Not quite what you were expecting there, I think. Is that?
That's true. I'm sorry, but
do you know what? It's a shame that we didn't have images for this, because there's a lot of architectural imagery and carvings and things like that would have been very useful for this, and it certainly it asks more questions than it answers, I think. I'm sorry, I'm just reading through the comments as you've gone through that.
My mate is the same, Chris. Won't have a bad word said against him. My sister idolizes him. She used to post, oh, he's nice. and the Portugal connection, this is Deb, sickens me. The McCanns, him, Clement Freud, all a bit odd to me. Yes. And he no longer lives in Portugal because they've got an extradition treaty. But I think somewhere in the West Indies they haven't.
Yeah.
Yes. But yes, it's I remember when I was younger, when you're in your teens, you go through periods of depression. I think I just finished with a girlfriend. Which was quite common for me to finish with a girlfriend. She finished with me, I think. She had enough of me. I was a bit down. So my sister said, I know what would cheer you up. So I said, what's that? She said, why don't you go to a Diff Flippants? I think I said that.
Oh, yeah, it's possible.
I'm trying to have my teeth extracted without an anaesthetic. Oh, it's lovely, is really?
Why did? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's us. Maybe we're just too cynical or something. But I think no, there's nothing. He's creepy.
I think funny. Yeah. Especially those Christian films he did. You got to see him on YouTube. You get about 5 minutes in before you feel like throwing up. Now let's go down.
This is it. I've pulled. I don't know how I've done it. I've pulled the chat out of the video. I've put it in a separate window, and it's quite useful actually because it means I don't have to sit there and look at two screens with me on the face, and
the first phone call he made was to the press. Wouldn't that naturally be the police?
Yeah, right. Sure it was.
Baby with the Lace says, no way did the Beatles go from shite like Love Me Do to masterpieces like Sgt. Pepper's. As a muso, no way. The leap is too big without help. I agree. Yeah.
Are you suggesting a conspiracy there? Are you suggesting there's something that do I have to get me tinfoil hat? No, you've got one though. You've actually got a tinfoil
hat. Yeah. Actually, I'll put it on now.
There you go.
So you got me tinfoil hat there. It's like Bago foil it is. It's better than a wig, isn't it? Do you know what I wear this on my bike with my goofy teeth?
Oh, bloody hell. Be good for Halloween, though. You're going to cook your head. You're going to be like a baked potato. You know, it's
it really is hot. I'm taking it off here. But, yeah. By the way, not all cyclists, only me.
Here's an interesting one from Herodotus.
What time was it?
Right, so forgive me if I'm wrong here, but when Jesus upturned the tables in the temple, we are on about the Temple of Solomon, right? We're on about the temple, and one of the things that, if I'm correct in that, it wasn't just a synagogue somewhere. When the Knights Templars, set themselves up in the Temple of Solomon, which was then the Al-Aqsa Mosque, they set up a banking corporation. They were like medieval bankers, weren't they? Because they used to provide promissory notes and exchange notes and things.
They're like a real bunch of bankers, weren't they? Yes.
Yeah. But they set up a bank in the temple where they were based. That was their headquarters. And yet they claim to be doing everything in the name of God and Jesus and Christianity. And yeah, it was Jesus that was allegedly going into the temple and saying, you're a den of thieves. This is not what it's about. And kind of, I just find it's a bit of an irony that just worth pointing out that, yeah.
Well, what was it that George Carlin said? He said this is all powerful person, but they just can't handle money. We need more money.
Oh, he loves money. Yeah.
So,
he loves money.
Chris Gardner. By the way, about books, he said, I read a good book this week, Hunting Tigers, written by Claude Body. I'll get
Wow. Okay, then. The less said about that one.
And don't forget to like this video and share. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Deb. Bless you, Deb. Thank you very much. That's very kind. And there it says, Robin Reliant, this is good for editors to get fucked, had one of the 80s on a bike license read the Flying Carrot. Yes, Robbie Lyon.
But they're the three-wheelers.
Yeah, three-wheelers.
That was so strange.
Have you ever been in a three-wheeler in the rain? It's like sitting under Niagara Falls because it goes the water as it's going under. Yeah. But
I mean, they were so bizarre looking at them. Weren't there's like a triangle car kind of view? Who the hell thought of that?
Do you remember the Bond Bug? The Bond Bug was actually made, I think, on the same chassis. Baby with a Laser, Hidden History, Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett is a great way to start. British history is world history. So now, Crystal Gardner says, Nathan, how do you think they machined the giant megaliths around the world? Yeah. Look at the precision, evidence. That's right. And also the Grand Canyon looks like one of these, where they've mined, doesn't it? When you look at it, because you see all the strata and all that, you know.
Apparently, the erosion there was too sudden for it to be done over millions of years. But I don't know. But what's that bloody place? Baalbek.
Baalbek.
I remembered it. Baalbek with a big. There's a Roman temple built on top of these massive slabs. And again, so going back to the previous comment.
And also Sticks on. Hello from New Zealand. Hello, New Zealand. Hello, Stick. That's all right. And
oh no, it's not. Hang on, we're going back a bit. No, it's not. My apologies.
Nathan, what about the Nazca Lines as well? Yes.
No, see, right. So one of the books I've put in the comment is this is one of the first I came across.
In Search of Ancient Mysteries. I think
and it's fascinating. I mean, some of it's been spoken about by Hancock. There's one of the temples I was on about the doorways in South America. But yeah, the Nazca Lines. Hang on.
Yeah.
See what I've got here. This is it's a very. There you go. There's an image of a space.
That's it. Yes.
That's one of them. That's one of them because there's more. Because we've got Eric von Daniken who covered it as well. There's that. There's the machine, the cogs, things like that. So again, I'm not dismissing it. I just keep an open mind and just say that I don't know if maybe we're reading too much into it. I mean, what the hell is that about? Look at that, Stairway to Heaven, right?
I know. And they always say it's religious things, because, that's life, but not as we know it. He said, I used to be a DJ at Stonehenge. It was classic rock, but I no longer mix in that circle.
No comment. We've got Nazca Lines. We've got some. There we go. There's some fascinating stuff. Yeah. I mean, how do you pull something like that off? And apparently, when it's at ground level, it's only gravel. It's not like it's not concrete or anything like that. It's just little gravelly bits that have been. It's precision. Again, I don't dismiss any of it. I just want to. I don't want to commit to a belief system in any form. I don't want to say, yeah, that's that. No, I want to keep my mind wide open, and to a certain degree skeptical, because a lot of the truth movement, I think we've discussed this at length. A lot of the truth movement, they will take something that somebody said on a podcast as gospel. Now, just because somebody said it on a podcast doesn't make it true, right? Just because somebody wrote a book on it doesn't make it true. I get people's attraction to this kind of information. It's what drew me in. Aliens and ancient astronomy, that's what drew me in. But so it's about truth. Yeah, it is about truth, but we have to be objective about it. We have to be, unless we can say with 100% proof, yes, that is what it was. We can prove it without any kind of dispute. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll accept that. But again, going back, and I know I sound like I'm having a whack at the truth movement, which to be fair, I am. They believe things very, very easily, right? And that's not truth. Believing stuff is not being objectively skeptical. It's not being questioning it. Yeah,
I find that they're very fickle in a way, because they're prepared to believe they're not objective about the what they're prepared to believe.
Yeah.
And that is the problem. They can be your friend one moment and your worst enemy the next. Very dangerous, that is. And now my granddad, Jojo Gizmo,
I read this.
was the most decorated soldier in World War One, and it was probably because of the fairy lights around his helmet that got him shot.
Well, he said he was in a Christmas spirit, maybe. Oh dear.
Because actually, did you know that they would, when they lit a cigarette, because the old boys from the Second World War, they would always have a cigarette like this and have their hand over it, because they reckoned that you could see a lighted cigarette from the sky, and when there was blackouts, they obviously didn't want to get bombed. So, and you look at the Spiv in Dad's Army, he smoked like that, didn't he? He got his character just right, and the one that died, Now it says here, about time we had John Hamer on the show. Yes.
Well, yeah. He probably will come back, but not until November, I don't think, for reasons. Yeah, he's kind of busy at the minute. He's traveling a little bit.
That's right. He's he had his honeymoon, didn't he? He's got yes. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know about you, but we got well over. We're 16 minutes over, basically.
I don't mind that, because again, I find reading the comments fantastic, because it keeps it going.
Yeah. And
for eradicating the 3 egoic defect. Interesting. Okay, so that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
That's esoteric stuff there. I mean, I'm not.
The pyramid. There's I think he's a French architect that believes, and I've go along with this. He reckons it was made out of concrete, sandstone, and he said they had the facilities to do it, and that's how they got all the everything so engineered so perfectly. The Egyptians knew how to mold concrete.
Well, I mean, the Romans did better concrete than we did. I mean, they did it much better. It was able to. I'm not an engineer or anything like that, but apparently the concrete was able to breathe whilst maintaining its its hardness and durability. And Roman roads were fantastic compared to what we've got.
Well, the other thing is that did you know the Victorians, they skill with cast iron, we've lost it. We cannot make cast iron to the same level that they did. We don't know how they did it. But there's cast iron that they did that we just cannot match. It was a skill that's just gone. I mean, I was thinking, it's like drawings now. When I started on the drawing board. Students now don't use a drawing board. It's all CAD, computer-aided design. So you don't go anywhere near a drawing board. And it seems very primitive to use a drawing board, but some things, I mean, I've got a small board that I sometimes use, and sometimes you can draw quicker than you can use CAD in some instances. So not all, but it is very fast, obviously, but that's how things are sort of speeded up. But
well, just before, I mean, and we are losing the ability to do things that are authentic to us. Everything's been replaced by technology, and as much as it's got its usage, I don't think technology is evil in and of itself, but unfortunately it's taking away our ability to do things the old ways, which I mean, I find it much easier to work things out with a pen and paper than I do on a computer. I mean, the amount I can't look at a screen for too long because it just bombards. Yeah,
this is my diary. It's full of notes and God knows what. But the thing is,
I'll give you an idea. So, I mean, it's not a diary, but this is my notes, right? So this is
that's just like what I do. Yeah, I make notes all the time.
Just to give people ideas to. I mean, that's quite common for me. So, can I go back into a comment you mentioned there? I mean, you mentioned the drawing boards. Are you familiar with the Venetian glass as well?
Sorry,
Venetian glass. Apparently, the Italians, they were able to do like a colored glass that was like the really, really high quality glass, and it was an art that's been lost, and ever since they've never been able to replicate this.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is Victorian builders were a cut above the rest. They were incredible. The way they cut bricks and things like that. I mean, true bricklayers, you see them with a brick in their hand and they'll get their trowel and go bang, and they'll just cut it exact. But I think it's like most things. If you're doing something every day, you get good at it. You get better and better and better at it. But what I was going to say, that's right. Now, on Sunday, the 13th, that what I'm going to in Suffolk ends at 3 o'clock. So it's about a 2-hour drive. So I should get back by 5 or 6 o'clock. So that's for the Sunday show. And that's our monthly get together next Sunday. That is with hopefully Paul, Patrick, the two Pauls, Patrick, Steve, yourself, myself. So you up for that, Nathan?
Absolutely. Yeah, I enjoyed the round table.
That's the round table next week, Sunday the 13th. Monday the 14th, Deb's on. She's coming on the 14th, so you see Deb. And then Dawn Lester's coming on Sunday the 20th. So, and I'm hoping to meet Dawn at that Suffolk event. She's going. I believe she's going. So
it seems to be quite popular. I mean, it's something I can't get to. Unfortunately, it's too far away. But I think there might be an interesting meetup of people there. If anyone's,
will be.
By the sounds of it, it's going to be a real treat.
And
I think
there's a guest I've never met, but it was recommended. Someone called She Bear is coming on the 21st of October, talking about citizen peace, PEACE officers, which is
I've met some of it. So during the protests, if it's the same guys, sorry to interrupt, mate, but there was peace officers going around, and they were dressed like police officers.
That's right.
So I don't know whether it's the same, but they were interesting.
So if you get the bailiffs on your door, you give them make sure they bring, and they'll come round and but they are trained in law where the police are not. And they actually virtually tell the police the law. And this is the thing, the police know very little about law.
They're just following orders, aren't we? Where we heard that before.
That's right. But anyway, thanks for joining me this evening. It's been absolutely
fun. Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
Just one more comment for the guests and the people in chat.
Where is it? Where is it then?
Well, no, just general in general. Look, one of the good things about this particular podcast or show, whatever you want to refer to it as, is your guest interactions, and it's really good to see that you bring. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there that do it as well, and they do the super chats or whatever. But I like the way that you do it, and I like the interaction you've got. Keep it coming, because again, we don't know all the answers, and we're still trying to figure stuff out. And I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind getting, I'm still open-minded to a lot of stuff. And so some of the questions and the points raised, this is exactly where we need to be looking. Just a quick thanks to the people in chat for the comments, for the points raised, and there's some questions in there that are real. I'd love to have gone into a few more of them actually, but I know that time's ticking away. But just thanks for everyone in chat who's contributed. I'm
a bit knackered. Sorry, been up since it's early hours. Got to get up early in the mornings. But the thing is that, by the way, Cinnamon and Nutmeg. So Survival Steve has a survival event in Northeast on Sunday the 13th. If anyone is local, great chat. Yes, because I was talking to him last night about what I've seen on YouTube. I'm going to give it a try. I might film it. We get a tin of tuna, and it's black hole in the top, and then you light it, and it heats the tuna up, and you can get yourself a hot drink from it as well. And it's from a tin of tuna. So aren't I boring?
That's your way of doing it. Okay.
Yes, and other stupid things that you do.
And because I mean that's like you literally that's two birds, one stone. That is, I like that. It's sustainability. Let's put it down.
Sustainability. That's it. Yes, and it says Stephen Truth says film the survival thing, and Aunt Sully said, "Thank you, lads. Not been able to be in the chat as listening whilst driving."
Oh, multitasking. I like it.
Oh, yeah. So there we are. Actually,
You don't get a
might
clip
be
for that.
interested in this thing in Suffolk. So it'd be a big meet up there. I've invited Miles, but I don't think he's looked it up because his family come from Norfolk and Suffolk and that sort of, you know. But anyway, and Chris Gardner might meet him. You never know if he's free on Sunday.
Well, I'd like to meet Chris. In fact, I'd like to do a show with Chris if he's interested at some point. I think we could have a fantastic meet up with that one.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
And I do hope his dear wife is okay. Let's hope.
I never know what to say in that situation, so it's kind of
it is difficult. Anyway, thank you very much. At this time, I look desperately for Deb's outro, which she's kindly done another one, and we're just. I'm just playing for time whilst I find it. I've got it right. We got it. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and as I say, join us next Sunday. Also next Thursday, by the way, I'm often a guest on the Paul English show. So so you'll hear some smut and filth and jokes on there as well.
Well, you have to, you know. I mean, hey, look, he invited you on. It's on him, really. I mean, it's there's no excuse.
So might invite the vicar over. Say, oh, listen, there's Paul English on it.
Well, I think we'll have a good show with another roundtable. I think that'll be really good. I like
I think Steve might be free for that one. I don't know, but and if Chris is available, see, the thing is, a good thing about radio, you can have several people on. You can have up to, I think, 9. So it's pretty good. You know. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh and good night.